Hello everyone, welcome back to another video on the channel. We always hear about mass adoption of institutions or institutional grade finance. However, we do not see the mass adoption taking place yet. However, that is when we're going to see a mass influx of retail traders. And so mass adoption will take place once institutions start adopting and using this technology. It's not going to be happening right in front of us, right? We're not going to see XRP or XRP ledger directly. It's going to be happening behind the scenes. This is going to be happening on the back end. And so, if you enjoyed this video, do me a favor and hit the like button, and hopefully by the end of this video, you become a subscriber. And so, for example here, let's take a look at Amazon Web Services, right? A lot of people do not realize what Amazon Web Services is powering. They're powering Netflix, Slack, GE, and many other companies out there, right? Fidelity, one of the largest investment firms, uses AWS. And so, Amazon Web Services powers 33% of the internet. And a lot of people do not even know about it. And so that is what is going to be happening, right? A lot of people are not even going to realize the XRP ledger in the technology is being utilized. And so I have a video clip of a Ripple employee telling us exactly what is going to be happening. And so we're going to be taking a look at that shortly. However, before we get into that, I would like to mention there is a link underneath the video to BTCC. They do have an event going on right now where you can deposit and get up to $100 in cashback rewards. And so this starts today through March 25th. And so definitely make sure to check out that link underneath the video. There is XRP futures and spot trading on the platform. And so let's go ahead and take a look at this video clip here from David Schwartz talking about institutional adoption.
Remember, I was talking about bleeding over into popular culture. It's great if everybody in the Bitcoin space thinks Bitcoin's great, if everybody in the crypto space thinks cryptocurrency is going to take over, everyone in the DeFi space thinks DeFi is going to be the next big thing. What about people outside the space? 97% of institutional investors believe that tokenization is going to significantly affect asset management. These are people who they're not Bitcoin people, they're not crypto people, they're not blockchain people, they're not DeFi people, they're institutional investors. These are some of the most conservative people in the world, right? And they think that the technologies that we're building are going to revolutionize their industry. That is that bleed over into popular culture. The market value of tokenized U.S. securities alone is $1.5 billion. This is a new space. So that is that number is probably different by the time I get off this stage. And of course, the growth of tokenized assets, $16 trillion forecast by 2030. I think that's probably going to be conservative. It just makes sense to get into these spaces. If DeFi spaces and tokenized spaces are where the investors are going to be or where the money is going to be, that's got to be where the assets are, right? The assets are going to chase the money.
And so we heard it there from David Schwartz that 97% of institutions believe that we're going to see tokenization of assets, right? Who is tokenizing assets? It's not people like me and you. It is the institutions that are going to be tokenizing assets. And so let's go ahead and take a look at some more information here. If we take a look at this here, we can see that Ripple has a partnership with Deca Bank that is rolling out crypto trading and custody services for institutions built on Ripple custody. A clear sign of growing demand for institutional grade custody solutions. This was back here just a couple of weeks ago on February 24th. Now, we got this just the other day as well. On February 26th, we have news from Ripple stating that they are partnering with BDAX to expand institutional crypto custody in South Korea. And so again, institutional crypto custody. And so the custody of assets is going to be the first step. The next step is going to be tokenization of assets. And so we're starting to see institutional grade custody take place here with Ripple. And then we have more information here talking about tokenization of assets. Back in November of 2024, they mentioned that they had a partnership here to announce the first tokenized money market fund on the XRP ledger. And so with 16 trillion in tokenized assets projected by 2030, the milestone unlocks cost savings and settlement efficiencies by deploying capital markets infrastructure on the XRP ledger. And so, in addition to that, we also have this news that Ripple has partnered with Ondo Finance. Now, Ondo is focusing on institutional grade products backed by tokenized US Treasuries in BlackRock's BUIDL fund that represents a natural fit for blockchain purpose built for institutional adoption. Again, we're seeing institutional adoption here with the partnership with Ondo Finance and Ripple. We're seeing institutional adoption with this partnership as well. And then we're starting to see custody of institutional grade assets. And so we're starting to see more and more announcements from Ripple. And in my opinion, I think we are just getting started. We're starting to see institutional grade custody of assets. Then we're going to see tokenization of assets. And once institutions jump on board, we are going to see a massive inflow of retail adoption. And so let's go ahead and take a look at this other video clip from the Ondo Summit with David Schwartz.
There's high friction right now where people are poorly served. For almost any technology, when you're trying to figure out where you can get the traction, you look for people who are poorly served by the existing technology, because you don't have to be perfect to get their business. You just have to be better. Exactly. And the worse it is, the less good you have to be better. And I think areas like real estate, like venture capital, private equity, things like that are just very poorly served. Another thing that works surprisingly is the opposite end. It's actually both ends work better than the middle. So on one end, people are very poorly served, there's very high friction. On the other end, where, believe it or not, where people are very well served and there's very low friction, you can actually get traction, because if you can save a very small amount of money, that's better. So for example, tokenized treasuries, you've heard a lot about tokenized treasuries. Those actually work pretty well right now. You might think, well, why would that be an area? And it's because of that. It's because if there's a $3 transaction cost and you can push that down to a fraction of a penny, that's actually a lot, because the margins are so small. If I'm only making 2%, you're charging me a couple of basis points. If I can save you a couple of bucks, that actually does matter. So I think it's like the two ends. As far as like what people should focus on, if we're going to turn to the corner to mass adoption, user experience is going to be absolutely critical. The biggest problem with mass adoption is when the users have to understand the details of what they're doing. If you look at any technology that's gotten mass adoption, whether it's the internet, computers, cars, it's when people don't have to understand the details of the technology that it works the best. And so it's getting that user experience. Interoperability is a big part of that. If it's like, my money's over here, but the thing I want to do is over here, and I really have to think about that, that's too much work.
It's not worth that energy and effort.
And that's probably why institutional adoption is going to happen before mass retail adoption, because institutional adoption, that the complexity is not as big of a blocker.
And so we can hear there from David Schwartz. He mentions that institutional adoption is going to happen before retail mass adoption because of the complexity, right? It has to be very simple. And so as I was mentioning at the beginning of the video, a lot of what is happening with XRP Ledger and XRP is going to be happening behind the scenes. People are going to be using this technology without even knowing it. Very similar to Amazon Web Services, right? Millions of people watch Netflix without even realizing that Amazon Web Services is powering that. And so let's go ahead and take a look at this information from Jack McDonald, another Ripple employee. And so he says that RLUSD hit 7.35 billion in trading volume on XRPL and Ethereum in the first 60 days. And so we have RLUSD that remains over-reserved. They hold 7 million more in reserves than the total RLUSD supply of $130 million. And they're also seeing increased inbound interest on RLUSD for on-chain collateralization for tokenized assets. Lots of possibilities here. This is what we should be paying attention to, right? This is massive right here, that they're looking at on-chain collateralization for tokenized assets. And so as I mentioned, tokenized assets are going to be the second step. Larry Fink has mentioned that multiple times. We're going to see custody of assets come first, and then we're going to see mass adoption with tokenization. And so if you enjoyed this video, do me a favor and hit the like button and subscribe for future videos. Also, make sure to check out that link underneath the video to BTCC if you're interested in a new trading platform. Thanks so much for watching and hope to see you in the next video.